where we dive deep into the history and stories behind the cars that shaped the automotive world. Today's story begins with a legendary compact sedan from Mercedes-Benz, a car that laid the foundation for what would later become the C-Class. The Mercedes-Benz 190E, development code W201. Today, it feels completely normal for Mercedes-Benz to offer a wide range of entry-level sedans. But in the early 1980s, Mercedes was still seen as a symbol of large, expensive, and dignified automobiles. So for a brand like that to introduce a smaller, younger, and more modern sedan was a pretty radical move. And the result was not just a small Mercedes. From its body engineering and suspension, to its safety, aerodynamics, and the symbolic importance of its high-performance versions, the W201 was a car that changed the future of Mercedes-Benz. Today, we're going to take a closer look at why the 190E is still loved by so many enthusiasts to this day. In the late 1970s, Mercedes-Benz was standing at an important crossroads. After the oil crisis, the automotive market began to demand more efficiency and practicality. At the same time, BMW was rapidly expanding a new segment with the 3 Series. The idea of a small but premium sports sedan. Mercedes-Benz also realized that relying only on its traditional mid-size and full-size sedans would not be enough to secure its future competitiveness. That is how the W201 project began. Inside Mercedes-Benz, this was regarded as one of the most important projects in the company's history. The goal was clear: to create an entirely new sedan that could preserve the brand's prestige, safety, and durability, while using a smaller body and appealing to a younger generation of customers. The design was handled by the Mercedes-Benz design team, led by Bruno Sacco. Sacco would later become known as the designer who helped define Mercedes-Benz's design identity throughout the 1980s and 1990s, and his philosophy is clearly visible in the W201. The car had to be smaller, but it could never look light, cheap, or compromised. Instead, it had to feel as if the dignity and presence of a larger Mercedes had been carefully scaled down into a more compact form. From a technical standpoint, the W201 was also a project Mercedes-Benz invested heavily in. One of the most important innovations was the newly developed multi-link independent rear suspension, created specifically for this car. This system was so significant that it would later become a core technology in Mercedes-Benz passenger cars. There is a famous story that Mercedes used supercomputers and built hundreds of prototypes in order to develop this suspension system. Eventually, this design became a benchmark not only for Mercedes-Benz, but for automotive suspension systems around the world. The W201 was also a model that Mercedes-Benz used to prove a very important idea. Could a smaller car still offer the safety and build quality of a large luxury sedan? Mercedes refused to accept the idea that just because the 190E was compact, its safety could also be compact. During development, the company even carried out a frontal crash test between the 190E and the W126 S-Class, which was the largest and heaviest Mercedes-Benz flagship sedan at the time. Remarkably, the passenger cabin of the 190E remained almost intact. Back then, many small cars were expected to crumple like paper in a serious crash. But the 190E broke that expectation by using high-strength steel and structural engineering worthy of an S-Class. When the W201 was unveiled at the 1982 Paris Motor Show, it entered the market as Mercedes-Benz's first modern compact sedan. And in the years that followed, this car would create an entirely new pillar for the brand, one that would eventually lead to the C-Class. The exterior of the W201 may look neat and conservative at first glance, but when you look closer, you begin to realize that this was one of the most carefully calculated Mercedes-Benz designs of the 1980s. At the front, the thin horizontal grille, Restrained headlamps and body proportions designed to look wider rather than taller give the car a compact but confident presence. From the side, the high belt line, short overhangs, and sharply defined character lines create a sense of stability and balance. The rear is also clean and understated, with no unnecessary exaggeration. And because of this restrained design language, the W201 still has a classic sense of proportion that does not easily look outdated today. Aerodynamics were also an important focus by the standards of the time. With an impressive drag coefficient of around 0.33, the W201 was designed to improve high-speed stability and fuel efficiency. This was enough to show that Mercedes-Benz was not simply building a luxurious car, but a technically advanced one as well. Inside, the cabin shows the classic aesthetic of an old-school Mercedes. The dashboard is defined by clear vertical and horizontal lines. The switches are large and solid. The instrument cluster is easy to read. The steering wheel feels thick and substantial, and every control has a sense of weight and precision. Rather than chasing visual flair, the interior was designed around solidity and trust. While the BMW E30, and later the E36, emphasized a more driver-focused and sporty layout, the W201 felt more like a car built to give both the driver and passengers a strong sense of stability and quality. The seats were also typical of Mercedes-Benz at the time. Instead of holding the body tightly like aggressive sports seats, they were focused more on reducing fatigue during long-distance driving. However, the story changes when we move to the 16-valve models, especially the 190E 2.3-16 and 2.5-16. With their body kits, unique wheels, rear spoilers, sports seats, and more aggressive stance, these versions transform the W201 from an ordinary compact sedan into a sports sedan with a clear hint of DTM atmosphere. And that contrast is one of the W201's greatest charms. The W201 had a surprisingly wide engine lineup, and the engine strategy of the 190E clearly shows just how much Mercedes-Benz expected from its new baby Benz. This was not simply a cheaper Mercedes. Instead, Mercedes was trying to create a small car that could offer a version of perfection for almost every type of customer. The gasoline lineup started with the 190 and the 190E. The early 190 used a carbureted 2.0-liter engine, producing around 90 horsepower. The 190E, on the other hand, used fuel injection, raising output to around 122 horsepower and offering sharper response and better high-speed performance. Later, depending on the market, the 190E 2.3 was added to the lineup. This version offered more generous torque and smoother acceleration in everyday driving. Toward the later years, the 190E 2.6 arrived, bringing the smooth character of an inline-six engine and a driving feel closer to Mercedes-Benz's larger models. For customers who wanted a W201 that felt almost like a small S-Class, the 2.6 was an especially attractive choice. The diesel lineup should not be overlooked either. There was the 190D, the 190D 2.2, the 190D 2.5, and in some markets, even the 190D 2.5 turbo. At the time, diesel engines were often associated with rough noise and vibration, but Mercedes challenged that stereotype with the 190D. The company applied an engine encapsulation system, wrapping the engine bay with extensive sound-insulating materials. As a result, exterior noise was dramatically reduced, earning the car the nickname Whisper Diesel. But when we talk about the W201, the most important model is, without question, the 190E 2.3-16. To prove the durability of this car, Mercedes-Benz carried out an extraordinary test. In 1983, at the Nardo high-speed test track in Italy, three 190E 2.3-16S ran continuously for 201 hours. They covered 50,000 kilometers at an average speed of 247 kilometers per hour, breaking multiple world records along the way. The result was a new legend. Mercedes-Benz engines could survive even under extreme conditions. Another interesting fact is that, at the time, Mercedes did not have much experience or flexibility when it came to building a high-performance 16-valve cylinder head. So, the company outsourced the work to the legendary British engine specialist Cosworth. What is interesting, though, is that Mercedes did not openly promote this fact at first. Maybe it was because of Mercedes-Benz pride, but the engine head did not clearly display the Cosworth name. Instead, it carried only the Mercedes-Benz logo. In terms of driving character, the regular W201 was not as immediately sharp or aggressive as a BMW. Instead, it was the kind of car that felt extremely stable at high speed, with a solid body that seemed to press firmly into the road. And that was exactly what gave many customers a strong sense of confidence. The multi-link rear suspension, in particular, was highly praised for combining ride comfort with cornering stability. As a result, the W201 became the model that sent a clear message. Mercedes-Benz was no longer just a conservative brand when it came to driving dynamics. When the W201 first appeared on the market, the reaction was quite interesting. On one hand, some people wondered, is Mercedes-Benz really making a car this small? But on the other hand, there was also a strong sense that Mercedes had finally created a premium sedan that more customers could realistically access. Conservative Mercedes customers were worried. To them, a Mercedes-Benz was supposed to be large, heavy, and almost castle-like. So when the company introduced this small car, some feared that it might damage the brand's image. Some even mocked it by asking, "Is this a Mercedes for poor people?" But for young professionals, it was fantastic news. The S-Class was too big, too serious, and felt too much like a father's car. But the 190E still carried the core values of Mercedes-Benz, while feeling much sharper, younger, and more modern. Because of this, it is said that the average age of Mercedes-Benz customers dropped noticeably after the launch of the 190E. However, the fact that the car became more accessible did not mean it was cheap. In fact, the 190E was significantly more expensive than its main rival, the BMW 3 Series. Mercedes did not try to lower the price aggressively. Instead, the company stuck to one clear strategy. We build even our small cars like an S-Class. And many customers felt, yes, it is expensive, but it is worth the money. This became a brilliant move for Mercedes-Benz. The brand was able to expand its market while still protecting its premium identity and reputation. In the end, the W201 became a major success, selling well over 1.8 million units during its roughly 11-year production run. But its success was not just about sales numbers. The W201 laid the foundation for what would later become the C-Class, a completely new core model line for Mercedes-Benz. And more importantly, it played a decisive role in helping the Mercedes-Benz brand expand into a much broader market. In this way, the Mercedes-Benz 190E, the W201, was far too important to be described simply as the ancestor of the C-Class. It was Mercedes-Benz's first modern compact sedan. It was the starting point for key technologies like the multi-link rear suspension. And through the 16-valve and Evolution models, it also helped establish a much stronger sports sedan image for the brand. It was small but never lightweight in character. It was an entry-level model, but it never felt like a compromise. That is why, even today, many enthusiasts describe the W201 as the most Mercedes-like compact sedan, or as the car that packed the essence of Mercedes-Benz philosophy into a smaller body. In an era where efficiency and cost-cutting often come first, the W201 may still be speaking to us with its entire presence, showing what uncompromising perfection truly means. And just like this wonderful old Mercedes that helped define the brand's golden age, I hope your day is just as solid and bright. Thank you for watching.